Turn our attention now to some transfer news. This from Friday. Liverpool have officially signed centre back Ibrahima Konate from Leipzig. £36 million, the reported fee, right around $50 million for the 22-year-old central defender. Gab Marcotti still with us. Gab, what kind of player Liverpool getting here?
I think they're getting a very gifted, athletic central defender, a guy who maybe was a bit overshadowed. If you look at the number of games he's played, obviously he's had serious injuries. He has a lot of competition in that center back spot. Obviously from Daya Upamecano, who's gone off to Bayern Munich, Willi Orban, the club captain, Halstenberg and Klosterman also playing back there as well, both German internationals. So he's really had to kind of elbow his way in, but really by the end of this last season, possibly alongside Upamecano, I think he was arguably Leipzig's best defender when fit. And I think, it's clear they're thinking in terms of succession plan, obviously not straight away, but Virgil van Dijk's coming back from injury. They don't want to rush him back. They want to get as many years out of him as they can. Joe Gomez obviously also coming back from injury. And so I think they feel that they need, 3 elite starter quality central defenders. Obviously Joel Matip, I guess, in the mix as well as the guys who, of course, took them to third place in these last games of the season in Phillips and Reece Williams. But I think depth is something you have to value, and they had to pay the fee because it was a release clause. And I think they hope that, long term, he can lead the center of that back four.
Yeah, elsewhere on Friday, we had Barcelona's new again, old again, President Laporta at his press conference. In it, he said he was, quote, moderately optimistic that Messi will stay. Translate that for us. Messi staying at Barcelona?
I think a lot of things point to yes. What would concern me, and look, obviously Laporta's going to say that. What would concern me is, what is the timeline to get this squared away? Because obviously the Copa America is scheduled to start on June 11th, whether it can actually start or not, given, Colombia pulling out and what's going on in Argentina, that's TBD. But you want to get it wrapped as quickly as you can. You don't want to get it done necessarily, I think, during the competition. You want time to plan. I think it's going to influence whether Koeman stays. It's going to influence, obviously, your budget for next season, because if Messi goes, then you're going to have a lot more wiggle room in terms of salaries. If he stays, I presume he's taking a pay cut, but even then, you want to make sure the ink is dry on that one. So I can only imagine if he says that, it's because an announcement is going to be imminent. I think it would be, frankly, pretty cruel and unusual if Messi were to go and unstring them along.
Right now on our website, Gab, you've written an article. The title is Harry Kane Unlikely to Leave Tottenham. Explain why for those of us who won't, or in some cases can't read.
Well, look, the simple fact of the matter is that Harry Kane signed a 6-year deal in 2018, which, is the kind of deal that, yeah, you're great, I'm set up for life, but it really, ultimately, knowing what we know now, there's 2 things you can conclude from that. One is he's underpaid. He makes less than basically every other top center forward in Europe, from Lewandowski to Benzema, fine, but also he makes less than Haaland. He makes less than Romelu Lukaku, for example. But beyond that, it means he really has no leverage. He's got 3 years left on his contract. Apparently, the best he could eke out of it is what they call, and I love the euphemism here, a promise that they would look favorably on a request to move. Yeah, that doesn't really give you any leverage at all. Throw in 2 other big factors here. Very few clubs, if Spurs really are going to hold out for 100 million, 150 million fee, 130 million fee, whatever it is, there's only 3 or 4 clubs in Europe that can afford that. And if you can push the boat out to that kind of money, to 130 million, let's say, for a Harry Kane, well, then you can probably sign a Kylian Mbappe or an Erling Haaland as well. And I don't want to get into whether their Kane is better or worse than they are, but what I do know for a fact is he's 6 years older than, or he will be 6 years older than Mbappe when he turns 28 this summer, and 7 years older than Erling Haaland, who turns 21 over the summer. So if I'm a club and for that kind of money, I can get Haaland. And by the way, I think you can get Haaland for, if you push it out to 130, 150 million, simply because of the release clause, which means that a year from now, he's going to be in the market for 70, 80 million. Then obviously you're going to go for Haaland and not Kane. Similar argument with Kylian Mbappe. He's got a year left on his contract. He hasn't extended that deal. A year from now, he walks for nothing. Now, I think Mbappe is going to extend, but you don't know that. So ultimately, it leaves Kane with very, very little leverage in terms of forcing a deal. Yeah, he can tantrum, put out a statement saying he wants to leave. He can threaten to go on strike. But, that's the kind of behavior we expect from certain strikers, but not from Harry Kane. It goes completely against his image. It goes completely against his character. So it seems to me like he's kind of painted himself into a little bit of a corner here. And I don't, as of right now, I don't see him budging unless something happens.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.